Hey, welcome to Baker Tilly Digital. My name is Chris Wagner, Director of Data Solutions. This is Marcus Redu. Marcus, introduce yourself.
Thanks, Chris. My name is Marcus Redu, architect here at Baker Tilly Digital. Happy to have you all here today.
Awesome. So we just went over what a data engineer persona is, but we kind of talked about it at a high level. Marcus, that's not super helpful if you want to do more of the technical stuff. Can you show us what does it mean to actually create a lake house?
Absolutely, Chris.
Fantastic.
So here we have our Fabric homepage. And in the lower left-hand corner with the new navigation menu, I'm going to select Data Engineering under the Synapse menu here. You can see at the top I have a number of options, including Lakehouse, Notebook, Spark Job Definition, and Data Pipeline. I'm going to select Lakehouse. I'm going to give the Lakehouse a name. We're going to be using the Worldwide Importers demo data set. So I'm going to call it WWI Demo Lakehouse and hit create.
What?
And within seconds, we have a Lakehouse interface right away ready to ingest our data sources.
Wow, that was fast. But there's no data in here. How do I get data in?
Happy you mentioned that, Chris. You can either select one of the quick pick menu options here to get started, or you can go to Get Data in the upper left-hand corner and select one of those same options as well. So I'm going to actually select New Data Flow Gen 2.
Ooh, what's the Data Flow Gen 2? What is this?
So the great thing about Fabric is Microsoft has offered both a no-code to low-code solution, and also for your pro developers, they've offered your typical coding solution. What we're showing here is the no-code, low-code option, where we can leverage Power Query on top of Apache Spark through a UI and bring in our data sources.
Get the French toast out of here. Wow.
So I'm going to go ahead and import from a SQL Server database.
All right.
And I'm going to go ahead and punch in my information here. And my connection is set up, so I'm going to hit next. And you can see here I have a couple of tables that I'm going to select. So I'm going to bring in product, store, sales rep, a couple of budget tables, and my fax sales. So I have those selected, and I'm going to hit create. So as you can see, very similar experience to those that were familiar with using data flows in Power BI and having that Power Query online experience.
Yeah, this looks just like if I were working in Power BI or, like you said, data flow. So I can do this, and people in my company can do this really easily.
Absolutely. Notice how to bring these tables in, I'm going to give them a quick rename to distinguish between my DIMs and facts.
DIMs and facts being your dimensions, which are your attributes that describe things, and your facts being the activities or the actions that are being described. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct, Chris. So dimensions, we're going to have those attribute values that we're going to slice and dice our data with, and facts are going to be those transactions that we're going to measure those attributes against.
Yep. And Fabric loves the star schema. Am I correct?
It sure does, because when we get to that Power BI layer, we want to be as close to that star schema as possible to maximize our performance.
Fantastic.
Before I hit publish, I just want to show the other view where we can dive into a visual representation of the steps that we are performing in each of our data flow queries. So not only do we have the step-by-step guide, but we also have the visual diagram that we can see, and we can see a whole bunch of metadata and data types, and really take this Power Query Online experience to the next level with Gen 2. Can
This
either
is
pull open
fantastic.
the advanced scripting.
So this is fantastic. So if I'm looking at a downstream table and I have an issue with, let's say, a data type, I can see the data type here and I can come in and easily change it.
Absolutely.
And it's all just Power Query. So if you know Power Query, you can do this, right?
Sure can. You could even take an existing Power BI file that you were using locally, copy the Power Query syntax from your advanced editor, and paste it right in here online, and you'd get the exact same experience.
Oh my gosh. So you're saying I could go from a Power BI file into a Lakehouse by copy and paste?
Yes, with one small tweak.
Okay.
So without having to write any code for each of your table queries, you can select a destination here.
Get out.
So either in the lower right-hand corner or in the top middle of the home menu, I can select a destination for all my tables. In this case, I'm going to pick Lakehouse for the Lakehouse that I just created. I'm going to hit next. I'm then going to go down and select my WWI demo Lakehouse. I'm going to give it the same name, dim product, and hit next. You'll notice there's a fix it message here. Right now, Fabric does not accept column names with spaces in it. So I'm just going to hit fix it, and it's going to automatically put in an underscore there to accept that column name. Notice at the top here, you have two options: replace or otherwise known as overwrite. And then we also have append, which is the behavior of the Delta files that we get on the back end. But all of that is taken care of by Microsoft so that you don't have to worry about managing that. You simply need to select those options in the UI here.
Wow.
So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save Settings. And then I'm going to do that for the remainder of my tables.
Wow. So this is just a point and click interface. There's a little bit of potential coding right there where we can go in and use Power Query, but for the most part, you're just pointing and clicking at everything, right?
Just clicking buttons, Chris. Not much to it.
Holy canola, that's incredible. And if you've already, if your data source doesn't have any spaces in the tables or field names, that you don't have to do any corrections, it looks like, right?
Not at all. It will simply ingest your data and away you go.
Wow, this is incredible. And it sounds like, and as you build this out, we're not just running Power Query that just loads Power BI. This is actually going into Delta files, right? So an open source file type that we can then use for Power BI, right?
Absolutely. Once it's in OneLake, we can connect to it directly and ingest it just like another data source in Power BI with super high performance.
But because it's Delta Lake, I can also run SQL queries against it, right?
It's a great point. Not only has Microsoft given us this great interface to ingest our data, but they've also incorporated a SQL endpoint on top of our OneLake data so that we don't need to pick up another language when querying this data. We simply can use our comfortable environment of SQL Server and T-SQL to query our data.
Wow. And I'm going to guess, and I know this is going to be in another video, but can my data scientists use this same data?
They sure can. The beauty of OneLake is it is a centralized repository of our data in our organization. So when we talk about those personas, our analysts can use it, our engineers can use it, and our data scientists can use it, all from the same place.
Wow. This is amazing. Absolutely fantastic.
So as that data flow is loading that data in, I'm going to go back into my Lakehouse. And after refreshing, we're going to start to see these table files populate. And from there, notice at the top, a SQL endpoint for SQL querying and a default data set have been created for me without me having to do anything.
Wow. Wow. So I'm sure this is going to run in a few hours. Do we come back tomorrow?
Oh, look at that. How about a few seconds, Chris? We already have 4, almost 5 tables loaded.
Wow. That's incredible to go from, hey, I want to bring this data in to just having the data inside the service. That's unbelievable.
It's pretty incredible, and it allows you to get up and going as fast as possible and start using that data. And not only one data source, you can incorporate multiple data sources and be able to start querying across those in a matter of seconds to minutes.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. All right, in the next video, let's go in and show the folks how you can use SQL to query the data that you just created. All right?
Sounds good. See you then.
Awesome. We'll see everybody then.